Good evening and welcome to Hunter College. This is the home of the Center for Puerto Rican Studies. My name is Rosa Cruz and I serve as the Outreach and Partnership Manager here at CENTRO. A little bit about CENTRO. CENTRO is the largest research institute, library, and archives dedicated to researching, preserving, and sharing the experience of the Puerto Rican diaspora. I invite you to connect with us on social media at CentroPR to learn more about our work, and upcoming events. We have very many events throughout the year. Some are research events, some are wonderful events like this one, super exciting, even children's events. So I welcome you to join us in all. I also invite you to visit us Monday through Friday at 9 to 5 to explore our library and archives, which is located downstairs where you first came in. The library and archives, in the library and archive, you will learn about the achievements and about prominent Puerto Ricans across all fields and significant historical events. Thank you for joining us tonight for this special event, which is being held in collaboration with the International Puerto Rican Heritage Film Festival. We are honored to have three remarkable individuals with us who have excelled in their craft and advanced Puerto Rican representation in the entertainment industry. We celebrate the legendary icon of Jesús Colón. Jesús is a beloved television luminary whose vibrant energy and talent has inspired generations. We celebrate David Silas. A gifted actor known for his powerful performances on screen and stage, who has shown the world the strength of Puerto Rican talent. We also honor Isabel Panchiata. I've been doing this all day, and I still messed up her name. But Arisa. All the staff here can tell you all day. And I still messed up. So Isabel is an emerging talent whose passion and dedication promises a bright future for Puerto Rican representation in entertainment. Tonight's discussion will explore the critical importance of representation and the challenges Puerto Rican actors face in the industry. Through their unique perspectives, we'll gain insights into the journey of fighting for visibility, pushing past stereotypes, embracing cultural authenticity on screens. We hope that this Cafecito discussion inspires, educates, and reminds us of the power and strength of our community. Before I turn over the program, I'm going to do a little ad here. When you came in, you saw that we have a table where you can buy materials, books, and some beautiful posters and book bags. The money that we raise through that program goes right back into the work that we're doing, this type of events. So I ask you to support us, and as a special gift, for those of you that are interested in buying our package, we're actually are able to give you a signed copy of Edie's book. So, go out there and buy. $65, I believe, is the package. So please help support Centro, and you'll also get the book that Edie's wrote. So now I turn the program over to Veronica Caicedo, CEO and founder of the International Puerto Rican Heritage Film Festival, and Festival Director Xavier Santiago to start our conversation.
With this, we kicked this off again with the Cafecito con actores. It's going to be more like vino con actores. And it's really about, we shaped it last year as Hispanics in Hollywood, right? If you ever remember that book, my dad gave me that book when I first got into this industry so that we could be seen. When we were anglicizing our names, and people thought, you're not one of us, you don't fit in. It was always the lighter skinned ones who were able to pass, right? As I was joking earlier, you could toss a kilt on me and you wouldn't know the difference. I still have the Lexi Burke. But with that, we want to open up this conversation. We're so proud. We have Isabel, Iris, David, and Veronica. We're going to be going back and forth to start the conversation. And I know a lot of people are running on Puerto Rican time, so they're lost. Okay. We may be able to get some Q&A from the audience. So both of you can kick us off with our first question, if that's okay with you, Bev. Edith, I'm going to start with you, David, about seniority of experience, because that's wisdom. What was your first breakthrough, and what was the greatest challenge you faced?
Bueno, buenas noches. Thank you for being here today. Qué bueno que están aquí. Okay. Good. Bueno, para mí ha sido una experiencia hermosa todos estos años que he vivido, he podido vivir, he podido trabajar y hacer lo que me gusta desde que era muy jovencita. Cuando la gente ve todo lo que yo he logrado, todas las cosas que he hecho, todas las cosas y los lugares que he viajado, pues ellos cuando me ven en personalmente se sorprenden. Yo digo, no tengo 90 años. Es que empecé muy jovencita y desde siempre he estado haciendo muchas cosas. Me encanta. Yo estudiaba en la Universidad de Puerto Rico y después de estudiar, comenzar una carrera de psicología, me cambié cuando comencé mi carrera de artista, me cambié al Colegio de Humanidades, que llaman allá en Puerto Rico o en todos los lugares, a comenzar a estudiar teatro, música, baile, todas estas artes, que era lo que realmente me gustaba. Aunque yo me crié con mis abuelos querían una profesional en la familia, una más, porque éramos 13, yo era la única nieta, y todos los demás eran, ya tú sabes, profesiones que en ese momento eran las que se validaban, ¿no? Que sea abogado, ingeniero, doctor, médico, esto, ellos querían, pero entonces ellos querían que yo fuera maestra, que yo fuese maestra. Y comencé a estudiar todo esto, pero cuando entré en el arte directamente, en los estudios de Telemundo, de televisión, pues ya yo dije, no, esto me gusta muchísimo, me gusta más, es divertido, porque soy una persona como que no me gusta tener redes alrededor, sino que ser más libre. Y ahí comencé a hacer mi trabajo hace más de 50 años. Comencé como bailarina, de ahí ahí hice novelas para televisión, hice películas, cine, movie, de todo, pero lo más que me gustó hacer fue mi programa de televisión, el show de Iris Chacón, que lo tuve por 22 años en el aire. Y no es tan fácil porque en Puerto Rico nosotros trabajamos todas las semanas. O sea, no es que grabamos 6 meses y ponemos 6 meses de grabaciones. No, allá es 22 años, semana tras semana, en la cámara, ahí frente a la gente.
Y eso es espectacular, a mí me encantaba hacer eso porque entraba a las casas, es una forma de tú entrar a los hogares. En ese momento, pues ya el cine no era, era más complicado, ya el crossover todavía, eso no existía, los puertorriqueños estábamos acá, los latinos por acá, y entonces mi crossover fue mi propio programa de televisión que lo hacía semana tras semana y ahí llevamos los mejores artistas invitados, llevábamos bandas, músicos, bailarines, de todo. De verdad que fue una época espectacular, una época que pues no olvido y jamás ni olvidaré nunca, porque de ahí ese programa me llevó a caminar a lugares como, a programas como David Letterman, John Rivers, eh, bueno, todos ellos, ahora mismo no me acuerdo, pero casi todos los que estaban en ese momento. Así es que para mí ha sido una experiencia espectacular, inolvidable. Ya mismo les sigo contando para darle oportunidad a mis compañeros. David.
Wow. Hi. Well, I started late in this business. I grew up in a wonderful household in the Bronx, very blue collar. My father worked for the city. There was no professional artist in my entire family. But I was always a movie buff. I would go to the movies several times a week. I saw everything. And I always had that in the back of my mind that I don't know what it is. I want to be involved in this, but I want to be involved somehow. I don't know if it's behind the camera or in front of the camera. But after high school, I put everything in the back of my mind. I joined the Air Force, and I spent 4 years in the Air Force. I came out and I became a New York City police officer. I had kids really young, so I needed to get a job that had great benefits, So I became a cop, and about, I would say, 8 years into that, at the ripe old age of maybe 30, I said, I think I'm going to do this. I'm gonna be an actor. So I switched my hours to the midnight shift so that during the day I could go to acting school and just go to auditions. And it so happened, I got so lucky that first year I joined this theater company that was just starting out, which was Labyrinth Theater Company. At that time, it was called LAB, Latino Actors Base.
Oh, okay.
And in that room, I discovered so much talent that it just made me work harder to be as good as I can possibly do. Not to mention meeting my wife, Liza, in that company 30 years ago. Right? And so I started doing plays there. And, the one thing that I would say that I was good at from the beginning was identifying opportunities. And what I mean by opportunities, it means surrounding myself with people that had that good intention, that good work ethic. And I was also very good in staying away from people that I know, I don't want that kind of thing. So I was lucky enough to meet and go around people that, had the same interests, and a lot of them, Puerto Rican, Dominican, Colombian, it was a whole mix of Latino. The challenges, first of all, there's always a challenge when you start auditioning. That's always a really difficult challenge. The fact that being Latino and going for these roles, I went in front of agents that asked me to change my name, and I said, okay, goodbye. And I just, I went through all the struggles that I needed to get, but I never really considered that struggle. I said, this is the journey. This is the journey that I have to take. I never considered, and that's, ignorance is bliss sometimes, but I never really considered the challenges of being Latino in this business, because I was so focused in trying to be the best I can be in everything I did. I had the luxury, in this business, I understand that for some people, the journey is different, especially, what color skin you have. So I understood that there was like some of my peers that were like not getting roles that they were much more talented than me, but they weren't getting roles. And I always wondered why. And then I remembered a couple of times in the beginning when I got roles, it was like, I don't know if this is something that I want to represent. And after doing it, I said, yeah, this is something that I kind of maybe regret doing. And then I was able to, that's a nice tune. Yeah. At that time, I was able to, eventually, when I started working more and more, somehow, some way, I was going to bring my Boricua in the roles that were being offered to me, even if they were in Boricua. If they were in Puerto Rican, I was going to bring something of that because I wanted to represent my people, my blood, in a positive way. Doesn't mean that they got to be good guys or bad guys, as long as the integrity of that character was there. And that's what I've always trying to do. And I got really lucky with a couple of TV shows, the first one being Oz on HBO. And thank you. And in that job, again, I was just witness to several amazing veterans actors, and I learned so much. I always found every job was a learning experience for me. And I did a lot of plays with Labyrinth. We traveled to London. We traveled to Scotland. We did plays that mostly directed by Philip Seymour Hoffman and written by Stephen Ali Gigas. And he had the voice of the New York streets. And that was something that was attractive to me. And then I got a great show, Dexter. I was really lucky to do 8 seasons in that. And then movies in between, and it's just been an amazing journey. And but always a struggle. I was just saying that, I still don't get 95% of the stuff I go up for, But I've accepted that, and I say I just push that aside, move on to the next. And I've just been very fortunate, very lucky.
Guys, after that, I don't think I can add anything more to this conversation. Hi, everyone. I'm Isabel. I was born in San Juan. I was raised in Vega Baja. I moved to New York 11 years ago because somebody named Jim Houghton, Jim was an incredible theater entrepreneur, gave me my first big break, letting me go to Juilliard. And I was the first Puerto Rican, believe it or not, I'm shocked, and I say that not necessarily positively or not tooting my own horn, but that Puerto Ricans being in the city for as long as we've been, the fact that it was in 2013 when they admitted their first Puerto Rican to the drama division it just changed me and changed my sense of purpose of what I had to do. And I remember when I was little, I remember being in in my kitchen in my childhood home, and I was 7, and I told Mommy, yo lo siento aquí, que yo quiero ser artista. And she was like washing dishes, like, you gotta study. You gotta go to school for that. You gotta read a lot. And I said, I will, Mommy, but I feel it here, And I told myself, okay, this is what I'm gonna. She's like, you need to go to the UPR. Tienes que ir a la UPI. You gotta study first. And I said, okay, I'll do 4 years there. And then I'm gonna go. And I had seen Raul Julia and Meryl Streep at a picture that my dad showed me from Taming of the Shrew at Shakespeare in the Park. I think it was Joe Papp who directed it. And then they showed me a movie with Meryl in it. It was Sophie's Choice. I was 8 years old. I don't know why they were showing me these movies that were not age appropriate. And I said, I want to do that. I want to tell stories. And so my dad, who was friends with Raul Julia, knew that Meryl had gone to Yale. And I asked what Yale was. And they were like, well, it's an Ivy League and it has a drama conservatory. You can go there. So that was my dream. I was like, I'm going to go to La UPI, and then I'm going to go to acting school, and then I'm going to get an agent, and then I'm going to be an actor. And so I manifested my life, right, until I was 22. And I came to the States. And it's been an interesting journey for me. You know, I'm very grateful to Jim and the people that have believed in me. But I always felt like I was lucky rather than I deserved being there. And I remember then realizing that Lincoln Center is actually built upon San Juan Hill, where mostly Black Puerto Rican migrants lived there, New Yorkers lived there, that looked like all of us in this room. And they were evicted so then they could build the Temple of the Arts. And I remember being in that building and I thought, I belong in this room. I have to believe it. And I have to be honest, I've graduated and then I did one theater production here. I was telling David, I did a Shakespeare in the Park show, and then I started with small roles and series, and I've done things here and there. But, you know, I'm still struggling to own myself in these spaces. I got to be totally frank, you know, and I feel like at first it wasn't a challenge because growing up in Puerto Rico, having my sense of identity, my family's there, you know, I know where I'm from, and then sort of coming here and joining the conversation, the social, cultural conversation in the States regarding identity and representation in the arts was a whole different thing, you know, and I was asked several times at school to change my name. Every time I said my name, and you know, and I don't want to badmouth this institution. I am so grateful that I was there, and I'm so grateful for my training. But it was a different time, and I am grateful that times are changing and our conversations around these topics are changing, but there's a lot of work that we still need to do, right? I remember back then, and this is 2013, I would say my name in Spanish, Isabela Raiza, and people would laugh, you know, and I remember how I started to code switch. Hi, I'm Isabel, you know, and I need to sound a certain way, and I need to behave a certain way. And so, although I'm very grateful for the opportunities and I make the most out of them, I'm still looking for spaces to feel like I deserve to be here, and I'm proud to be Puerto Rican, which I've always been, by the way. My neighbor stopped me the other day, and she was like, I've seen your Instagram. Her name's Ellen. I've seen your Instagram. You're very proud Puerto Rican. And I was like, claro, mija, hueva. So, but yeah, that's sort of my candid answer.
Can everyone hear me? Yes. So if there was, let's say, so you've done a lot of accomplishments, all three of you. You've had a lot of great roles. What is one role that you have not done that you really would like to do? David?
I don't know if I'm the right person to be asked this, because every role I do, I just put in 100%, and I feel like it's something that I want to do, and I could bring something to that role. I wish I could sing. That would be the other. This so be close to the mic. Okay. Okay. Espérate. All right. We're good. Good. Can you hear me? Is that good? Okay. So I wish I could sing. I wish I could do. I could dance a little bit, but I wish I could sing and do musicals and just express myself. And you know, I feel that I wasn't given that God-given talent. You know, but I find a way. So I think that would probably be it. If I could sing as a role that I would like to attempt. Though I have attempted and failure. But yeah, so that's something that evades me. Yeah.
I'm feeling bad speaking Spanish, but it's my main language.
No.
So,
We all understand.
so cuando I don't have to translate, so in my mind, so hablo mejor en español y me expreso mucho mejor.
I can
So-
try and translate for you.
No, Well,
If you want. Does
I
everyone
think
understand
everyone
Spanish?
understands. Yeah.
It's all right.
Okay.
I translate later.
Okay.
¿Cuál era la pregunta? Estaba yo
si
pensando.
hay un papel que no ha hecho
Okay.
y
Este es como Miss
tendrá la
Universe.
oportunidad de hacerlo, ¿qué será? Algo que tú nunca has hecho.
Algo que no ha hecho. Oh my God. I think, yo creo que yo he hecho de todo, de verdad. Yo he hecho de todo en esta vida, gracias a Dios.
Amén.
Y lo más importante para mí ha sido que yo he estado en Puerto Rico, o sea, he sido un producto realmente de la mata de plátano de Puerto Rico, de allí, que de ahí salía al mundo entero. Y siempre con mucho cariño he ido y he vuelto y he estado en todos los lugares. Realmente he hecho muchas cosas, yo he hecho casi todo y estoy súper contenta con mi vida y con todo lo que he logrado. Siempre hay este espacio para hacer cosas diferentes, para hacer cosas nuevas. Así que yo, I'm open to that,
Okay.
to the possibilities.
Yes.
They asked me this question years ago, and I still don't have an answer for it.
Yeah.
But I wanted to see a movie of the spy Ana Belén Montes, who's originally from Vega Baja, to Cuban parents. And she worked in the CIA. And she was a double agent for the Cuban government and the US. So she's one of America's most dangerous spies. And she was just released last year. But no one suspected that she was giving information back and forth because I think she had like obsessive compulsive disorder. So she had some tics and she was a woman. So when she would get nervous because she was withholding information, the agents around her just thought she's just a weird woman. She's just neurotic. And they didn't know she was giving information back and forth for 30 years. And I would pay to, you know what, I'm going to manifest that character for myself because it's a good character. I was like, I would pay to see that story.
I'm noting.
So we've talked a little bit about stereotype, phenotype, which is something we talked about last year with Luis and Luna. And we do span the rainbow, Boricua, and a lot of Latinos, and it just depends on where you're from. We talk about here the East Coast, Boricua were the tip of the spear for Latinos. We were the ones here that first. And I think when we look at representation and telling stories, it's important for us to uplift and elevate, which is part of the purpose of this festival. So we've talked about the role or something you'd like to do. I want to pivot a little bit. What is a story, and you kind of got us started, but what is a story you, in your professional opinion, that hasn't been told for our people? We'll go back down the line.
Down the line. The story.
Let me think about this, because a story that hasn't been, you know,
Throwing deep questions here.
these are deep questions. Like, I want to see a movie about, guys, I'm just like putting myself out there with all these nationalist comments. Like, I want to see the day where Lolita Lebron went into Congress, you know, like what happened, a movie, 24 hours, how they were preparing, you know, but I want to see the story about the people in Vieques living with the Marina. I was there in 1997. La Marina was still there. My godfather is from Vieques. And I remember, you know, I went into the beach and I developed an allergy that lasted for many years. Every time I was near, like, the beach, it would activate, you know. And we thought it was like a school of jellyfish that attacked me, but it was really the chemicals of the testing in the waters. And I remember they would have, ¿cómo se dice? Cuando salen los militares, toque de queda. Porque era Semana Santa, it was Holy Week. And I remember going with my cousin and my brother to buy ice cream, and it was 8 p.m. And then this alarm would sound and the Marines would come. And he was like, we gotta run, because if not, they're gonna detain us. And me not understanding what this was. And years later thinking, the people of Vieques had to live with that. I want to see that, and there's a movie called La Pecera where Gloria Mar Marrero, this Puerto Rican film director, talks about it. I just feel like I want to see stories like that.
Yeah. Está bueno. Well, I'm working on my own biopic, and it's going to be very nice, very creative, vamos a decir, because I want the girls who know me, people who know me, that there's no barriers, tú sabes, para seguir hacia adelante. No importa where you come from a little island like Puerto Rico, or, a big país, whatever. Lo importante es ser auténtico. You have to be authentic para estar en este ambiente. You have to be real. You have to be, tú sabes, desear que todo el mundo, no solo, don't do it just for your ego, for here I am, this is Iris Chacon. No, do it because, you're a person who can inspire others, and that's very important. And for me, that's very, very important que las chicas, las niñas que están creciendo ahora en este mundo tan complicado, puedan saber que hay oportunidad, no importa dónde tú estés, but like como a Isabel le decía, you have to study. mi familia, mi abuela me decía, you have to study. So eso va a ser importante en esta película que yo quiero, o este pic que yo quiero hacer, donde la chica o la gente grande o el que lo vea que sí, que hay espacio para ser artista, para cantar, para bailar y para también tener, pues, tú sabes, educación. Y eso es muy importante.
I always found that being Puerto Rican gave me an edge in all the roles I went up for. Whether that's true or not, I always felt that. And I guess roles that what I would like to see is, and you have seen a little growth, but not nearly as far as, representation, like doctors, like educators. I remember seeing the movie with Edward James Olmos where he played a high school teacher. And I was like, wow, what a great role, because it's something that I was inspired by. So I would love to play roles like that, a positive image of something that would inspire a 12-year-old looking in the movies or in the theater. And you try to do that, but you have to, I always say knock. If they don't open the door, then kick the door down. And so those are the kind of roles that when I'm looking at scripts that are attractive to me. Because I feel like the responsibility I have now is to inspire young people and inspire people that grew up like me. And so that's something that I always look for.
Thank you. So I love you mentioning the finger man. 1 + 1 is 2. 2 + 2 is 4.
Yes, great film.
So I think this is a great segue to ask this question. So you've worked with many directors. What's one director that you have not worked with that you love because of maybe their style of work? What is it that you've encountered with different directors that you like, that you didn't like, and that you would want to experience that sense of community, that sense of family, that sense of teacher, maybe that sense of mastermind? What is it that maybe you're looking for in a director that you have not worked with that you would like to experience? Don't pick me. Don't pick me. Not me. Someone else, not me.
There's so many directors that I haven't worked with that I like to work with, but the style that interests me in a director, and because you have the responsibility of coming in prepared and ready to go, but I love directors that lets you explore, lets you find certain things, gives you. I've had a couple of experience with directors that said, "You got just we'll follow you with the camera. Just do what you're gonna do." And I found that so freeing. So in an episode of Bloodline that I did as a Netflix, the director was like, "Yeah, we're gonna have the camera and you just do what you want to do." And I went crazy. I did everything, and the camera's following me. And I saw the episode, and he kept most of it, and that was like, liberating for me.
Awesome.
Well, I love directors that help you grow as a, tú sabes, como persona, as an actor. My story is different porque yo no he estado tanto en el mundo, tanto del cine envuelta, aunque mi carrera se ha corrido casi toda en televisión y también se ha corrido a cine, pero más bien en televisión. Entonces I work with different directors that were great, that helped me grow as a, as an individual, como artista, como de todo, como ser humano. And that's very important, que sacan lo mejor de ti. Cuando he estado hice varias soap operas, varias novelas, y entonces, pues, olvídate de Iris Chacón. You're not Iris Chacón. Y yo, ok. Emma, cámbiate el pelo rojo. Y yo, ok. Y entonces después cuando me veía en la cámara o de eso, decía, ok, it looks good, it's okay. O sea, ese tipo de director es bien importante, creo yo, a mi entender, para un artista que no solo te permita, como David, sacar lo tuyo, lo que tú tienes, porque todos tenemos un actor dentro, una estrella, pero que también te vaya moviendo de un lado para otro para que todo salga, todo fluya mucho mejor.
I was thinking about this because I've worked with directors in theater and directors in TV, and I did a show where we had a different director per episode, so you got exposed to a lot of different aesthetics and ways of working. But I've loved working with directors that I feel like allow for your sense of humanity because they fully see you. A lot of these actors have also had previous acting training, so they know how to get that out of you. But there was a moment in my life where I just wanted the director to give me the line read. I have no ego. Sometimes I'm like, just tell me what I need to do, So I think depending on what I need in that moment of my life, right? But right now, I love collaborating with people, like in the real sense of that word of collaboration, that they see me fully, that they allow me to bring my whole self to set. Sometimes I'm like, okay, voy a traer la boricua aquí para el set y vamos a montar un and sometimes I'm like, okay, tone it down, and sometimes these people allow me to bring that. And that's been very helpful lately. And sometimes, I want to work with Alfonso Cuarón. When I saw that movie, Roma, the way that he talked about his childhood in Mexico, that aesthetic, that storytelling, he's very profound, interesting guy. A lot of these Mexican directors in the industry are also really bringing it. So I would like to work with him or Iñárritu. I mean, I could give you a list, but yeah.
Awesome.
Got an easier question. Favorite movie?
No hagas esto. Favorite movie. There's a favorite movie for a different stage in your life, right? Like sometimes you're feeling sick, you want to watch Something's Gotta Give, I have to think about it, favorite movie. I like a movie called Adaptation.
Oh yeah.
by Charlie Kaufman. And yeah, I really like that movie, and it's like timeless.
Yo no sé de verdad. A mí me gustan todos, porque en realidad de todos los movies yo saco algo importante. There's something good en cada piece of movie o de cosa que tú ves, porque that's why you pick that movie, porque
Yeah.
va a tener algo que te atrae, porque si no tú no te vas a sentar a ver algo así. So, yo preferido, no tengo ninguno, pero todos los que he visto me han encantado.
I mean, that it is. Why'd you say this? That was an easy question. It definitely wasn't. You know, I would answer this by what is the movie when you're flipping channels that you stop and see for like the 500 times that you've seen it. And for me, it's the Godfather.
Yes.
Because
Yeah.
now I watch The Godfather, and Liza and I always stop. So, oh, The Godfather's on, and I'm trying to find flaws in it
Yes.
because I've seen it so many times. So let me look at see, and there's no flaws in it. And so I would say that's my favorite movie.
Okay.
I was gonna say that was my favorite. I promise you. I was gonna say it, but I was like, that everybody loves The Godfather. So I was like, change it, be more interesting. I'm gonna say The Godfather.
Yeah. Well, it's because it's about family and what they would do to keep that family. And it's just a brilliant story told by Francis Ford Coppola and everybody involved.
Super.
So I mean, we can go on and on and on. I think it's beautiful what's being seen, what's being heard. But I think it's time maybe we should open it up to the audience.
I couldn't agree.
Great.
All right.
So just gonna ask you to raise your hands and then come down to the mic because we are recording.
On either side.
All right. So yes, come on.
Ya que ahora estamos con streaming y el internet es un monstruo, what is the future of going to the movies? Like I grew up in El Barrio, and there was the Eagles and the Cosmos, and then there was the big blockbuster movies on 86th Street and 59th Street, but there was always neighborhood movies that you actually would go. It was an experience, and you would meet girls, or you would meet friends, or you would find $10 on the floor. But at home, that won't happen. Nothing's gonna happen at home other than, so that whole experience, that communal experience is lost. So what's the future of movie going with streaming?
I'll answer this question like I feel that it's a unique experience seeing a movie in a theater. And that would be my preference over all the streaming, is to go to the movies and experience something that's going to change you and listening and feeling the reaction of the people around you. And also just the nostalgia of being in a theater and everybody has to shut up and watch this story. And be and you can do that at home, but there's something about being in the theater that so I think that there's always going to be theaters. I think a better question would be, what kind of movies are they going to show? You know, and like the movies of the 70s. Every week there'd be like 3 or 4 movies from the 70s that were just brilliant. You know, even the bad ones were good sometimes in the 70s. But I find that, hopefully that making a small picture, when I say small, I mean a picture that's not about superheroes or a picture that's not about action, it's not about just a story, a slice of life. A slice of life of a Puerto Rican family, a slice of life of an African American family. Those movies I still like to go watch in the theater, because it affects me more, and so that hopefully is movies are gonna continue. I'm confident about that. Hopefully there'll be an opportunity for younger people to go to the theater, to the movie theater. That's something that needs to be encouraged, to experience that event.
We're gonna remember that.
Yeah, like David said, it's an experience. It's a great experience to hacer with your family. Es algo que no se debe perder. And the popcorn, and all the things that you do cuando tú dices, when you go out, vamos para el movie, vamos para el cine en casa, todo el mundo se vestía, se ponía bonito y vamos para el cine. Y ahí es una experiencia linda, que es different from seeing la televisión o ver, tú sabes, ahora streaming, que es diferente, que todo el mundo está solo en su cosa. Ahí es como, es un family gathering y eso no debemos perderlo.
Buenas tardes.
Buenas tardes.
Esta pregunta no es una pregunta, es una pequeña historia para la señorita Iris Chacón.
Ay, gracias.
Usted dijo que estaba en Puerto Rico hace 50 años, entonces yo quiero hacer una pequeña historia. Mi hijo tenía 4 años cuando la conoció usted en una tienda en Plaza Las Américas.
Ah, ok.
La abuela de mi hijo era beautician y la conocía a usted.
Ajá.
Entonces ellos estaban caminando por el mall y le dijo, ay, yo conozco a la señorita, ¿quieres conocerla? A Ricky, mi hijo. Y él, 4 años. Y dijo, sí, sí, sí. Entonces ella se presentó con usted porque ella era beautician de usted. Una de las beautician de usted.
Oh, sí.
Y de cabello. Ella tenía su propio
salón,
beauty parlor en Santurce.
Ok.
Y ella la presentó a mi hijo y usted la abrazó y le dio un besito en el cachete. No se ha olvidado eso para toda su vida. Y ahora tengo la oportunidad y el privilegio de preguntarle a usted, ¿repetiría ese besito en su...
Mira, el esposo de Iris está aquí, ten cuidado.
Mira para allá. Tenía 4 años.
Wow.
¿Y ahora cuánto tiene? 50.
Wow.
No.
It's always nice when the mom puts you on the spot.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man.
50 years ago. 50 years ago. In Plaza Las Américas, and I recognized her. My grandmother took me in the store, and she gave me a kiss on the cheek.
Quickly, I was just wondering if there was ever a moment where you wanted to quit, and if there was, what was the thing that helped you push through?
No, en realidad no, nunca he querido salirme de esta carrera tan hermosa que me ha, ¿verdad? A través de los años lo he pasado también y he disfrutado y estoy aquí todavía alegre y feliz y esperando lo que venga. So, sí, ha habido momentos que uno dice, ay, ya, me cansé, no quiero hacer más nada. Me dan a veces como unos ataques de pánico cuando se me acerca mucha gente, porque yo soy un poco shy, aunque ustedes no lo crean. Soy una persona, tú sabes, que me gusta estar, no soledad, no sola, pero tú sabes, on my space, con mi espacio y siempre, pero esos son los momentos cuando tengo que salir a estar con público, when I have to go to a show o cosas así, pues yo digo, ok, here we go, vamos para adelante. Y bueno, de verdad que nunca he pensado abandonar este mundo tan bonito. Bueno, thank you.
Want me to go?
I'm going to be honest.
Okay.
I was just talking to David. I was like, I'm tired. I'm tired of this.
Yeah.
You know, it's hard. It's hard to wait. It's hard to wait for the opportunity. It's hard to create opportunity for yourself. And I think a month and a half ago, I was moderating the OLA Awards, and they were recognizing the legendary Liza Colón Sayas. And I was, yes, history right here. And I was having a really bad day, and I had to put on a good show. And I was near tears because I was like, I'm tired. Yo me quiero mudar para Puerto Rico. Tú sabes, yo quiero una familia. What am I doing here? And I looked at Liza and I said, I just want to thank you for everything you've done for us and that award that you've received, which you so rightly deserve, represents so much for so many of us. And I'm this close to quitting. And she said, don't. If I could do it, you could do it. Stay. And I teared up. And then I smiled and we posed for a picture that I have. And that was a month and a half ago. And that moment stays with me because of generosity of another Puerto Rican actress with me. So, thank you.
When I first started, I bought Backstage magazine. Remember that?
Yeah, the newspaper.
Because I needed to find an acting school because I was going to venture into this unknown world that that I've only seen as an audience. So the first when I walked up to the building where we were his name is Ernie Martin, my first acting teacher, and I was standing outside the building and I was like, I got a job. Why? But then something brought me in, and the minute the class started, that was it. This is what I'm going to do. I have never considered quitting. The only way to stop what your dreams are is to quit. And so I'm not a believer of quitting unless you don't love it. I loved it, and I love it now. So quitting is not in anything in my head. Struggle, yes, but quitting. No.
And I just want to ask, I'm about to throw myself into the world, sort of how to keep myself motivated in this sort of like uncertain industry where we don't know really where our next paycheck is coming from. Just what you guys do in these sort of situations. That's it.
It's all possible, man. You can find something to pay the bills at first, and you do it. I had a full-time city job, and I still worked as an actor. I didn't sleep much, but it's all possible. You can dive into this world, and whatever you have to do to pay the bills, if things are slow, you do it, and then you go back to it, and you always stay involved. Always stay, looking for opportunities, looking for a light to go to, in this crazy business that we're in. But just know that it could be done. You can do that.
Y algo que a mí me ayuda mucho es recordar que cada no te está llevando a tu sí. So remember that. Cada no te lleva a tu sí.
Es importante saber que cada momento que tenemos que pasar, cada vida, cada momento que vivimos, nos trae una lección, nos trae una enseñanza. Y entonces, si es un momento bien difícil para pagar los bills, para hacer las cosas, cógelo suave. Tú sabes, hazlo como for fun. Ok, voy a trabajar en esto, voy a hacer esto otro, me voy a divertir trabajando en lo que estoy haciendo. Maybe you're an actor. Si tienes que trabajar para decir, un restaurant, pues piensa que I'm acting. I'm acting. Yeah, tú sabes, estoy un server. I'm here, okay. Y entonces así tú vas creando tu propia visualización. Visualización, ¿sabes? Creando tu propio mundo. Your same, tú sabes, tu propia vida, lo que viene. Y tú verás porque todo tiene un propósito en la vida y todo va a llegar en su momento. Nada viene antes de tiempo. Y a mí me ha pasado que cosas que yo he tratado, mi esposo y yo, que está aquí, Juno, que llevamos 47 años juntos de casados. Él es un músico espectacular que toca muchísimos instrumentos, todos los instrumentos. Y a veces decimos, fíjate, hay cosas que yo quisiera hacerlas ya, pero no llegan. Y entonces al tiempo se dan solas. Y uno dice, oh, ahora que no la pensaba, se dio. So, when you're pushing something, cuando estás empujando, eso, como lo sigues empujando para allá, suéltalo y va a venir.
Go
Hi.
ahead.
First, I have a comment for Isabella. You said you have that pit in your stomach since you were younger, that this is something that you have to do. You're going to have that feeling, that pain in your stomach until you don't want to do it no more and you're going to throw it up. And that's going to be your decision. But my question to you is, as a Latina actress, do you feel like you have to become a sex symbol like wonderful Iris Chacon? I remember you. I remember the shows. So does Hollywood kind of push you to have that look, that aesthetic to be noticeable?
I mean, I thought for a moment, like, oh, is that what I have to do? But that's not me. And so I know that I also have to sort of live with the consequences of I'm going to represent and bring myself truthfully. Sometimes I want to be sensuous, but I don't want to be objectified. Sometimes I want to be this other thing. And this is who I am. It might take me longer, but I'm going to be there, right? And I'm going to show up and do it. So, that's certainly a conversation, but what I do like about my team is that that's never been on our conversation. Yeah.
They've always asked me to be a sex symbol. I don't know why. I fight it all the time.
Está bueno.
Buenas noches a todos. Primeramente quiero felicitarlos a todos. Ustedes han hecho un trabajo excelente. Yo, Iris Chacón, te conocí por la primera vez cuando tenía 14 años, a ti y a tu esposo en el condado. Y eso para mí fue lo más grande.
Ay,
y yo me
gracias.
crié en casa con el show de Iris Chacón. Yo no me perdía mi Iris Chacón. Esto para mí es un privilegio.
Gracias.
Tengo aquí mi
Gracias.
hijo de 30 años que él no sabía nada de Iris Chacón. Y yo, Gregory, Iris Chacón era la mujer y es la mujer de Puerto Rico. Eso es lo más caliente que hay, muchachos.
Oh,
Yo,
my
te
God.
busqué. Yo te busqué en YouTube y le enseñé a Gregory quién era Iris Chacón y el show. Y Gregory encantado con Iris Chacón.
Gregory.
Y por eso hoy está aquí conmigo, porque él dijo, mami, yo quiero ver a Iris Chacón en persona. Y yo le digo, papito, grábatela, porque esto no se da todo el tiempo. Esto es un honor, muchacho. Cuando tú tengas tus hijos, tú vas a seguir hablando de Iris Chacón. Otra vez, David, mi cuñado contigo no se pierde todos los shows que hay en HBO, Showtime, Netflix. So, imagínate, tengo retratos que cuando le mande allá en Pensilvania va a estar Ginée. ¿Qué es eso? Yo, muchacho, hay que estar en todas, siempre apoyando a Puerto Rico. Yo nací en Fajardo y estoy aquí desde los 4 años, pero yo todos los años voy allí a Río Grande, a la entrada del Yunque. Yo no me pierdo mi Puerto Rico. Los quiero mucho y muchas gracias y bendiciones.
Gracias. Gracias.
Well, we need to record it, so.
Yeah.
It's coming, it's traveling.
So my question to the panelists
Ay,
is,
te se oye bien.
now that you have a platform, have you ever thought about writing and producing your own stuff or tried to?
Yes, to answer your question, yes, it's proven to be more difficult than I thought it was going to be. I have written. I wrote a story that was sold, and they were going to do it, and then the pandemic came, and I was in it. That I was also going to direct. It's like I said, if you love something, you go for it. I have concentrated mostly on acting, but it is a dream of mine that has not died yet, that I want to write and direct. But it hasn't happened yet. It will, yeah.
Super.
Same. I started writing a show, but right now it's like Chronicles. It's there. It's dormant. It'll come out.
Bueno, yo siempre, I always, he hecho mi show. Yo estuve produciéndolo, entonces bailando, cantando, haciendo todo, porque el budget era pequeñito y había que hacer de todo, hasta hacerme el pelo. Así es que, pero es bueno, it's nice because you learn. Aprendes a hacer de todo, aprendes a escribir, a cantar, a bailar, ¿verdad? A producir, a bregar con la gente. So, esto es un path, es un camino hermoso donde cada cual tiene un road, ¿verdad? Un lugar que es por donde nos gusta. Quizá cuando salimos por primera vez decimos, yo quiero ser actor o yo quiero ser artista, digo, cantante, bailarina, como yo cuando comencé, quiero cantar, quiero bailar, quiero hacer esto. Y después la vida me fue llevando a hacer diferentes cosas y a través de todo lo que hice, pues yo dije, esto me gusta más, esto me gusta menos, esto no me gusta, y whatever, y uno va escogiendo lo que más te gusta. Así es que, pero es importante try everything, ¿verdad? Tratarlo.
Yep. So before I, no, we're going to have to wrap it up, and I want to give a note to everyone that the writer is the only one in this industry who doesn't need permission to work, and the producer needs everyone's permission to work. And I'm going to pass it over to Veronica to give our closing remarks, and then we're going to move on to our reception. Sorry, we're just running out of time in the space. Thank you.
Well, I'd like to thank everyone for being here this evening, especially Centro. Rosa, thank you for always being our partner in this. This has been an amazing ride, and it's something that we would love to continue every single year. And if you guys are here for the first time and you've never gone to the festival, please, there are flyers outside. The programs are outside. We still have 3 more days left to come. We will be at Regal Cinemas in Delancey, so come down and enjoy in the festivities. And I like to just welcome and thank you so much for believing in us and for believing in the things that we do to bring this industry to where we want it to be. Thank you.
Thank you.